Welcome to the Actualize Your Full Potential podcast, hosted by yours truly, Bruce Barnes. Join me as we discover small changes that can make a big impact in your life. Greetings and welcome to this episode of Actualize Your Full Potential podcast. I'm your host, Bruce Barnes, and just as a reminder, links to the podcast can be found on my website, actualizeyourfullpotential.com. I also load the video to my YouTube channel, so you can find all that good information there. And on this episode, I've got a special guest with me, Betty Brink. She is an expert on mental and emotional aspects of dieting and body image. She's the author of The Main Meal, The New Perspective on Weight Loss. In seminars, she's been in seminar speeches, consultations. Betty provides people with pathways to stop their limiting negative self-talk and increase their self-esteem and motivation, and to find their joyful ways to love their beautiful bodies. She's a certified mindful coach and founder of the Main Meal Weight Management Support, and she blogs about the things that make up the main meal of her life. And we all know, if you've been following me for a little while, you know self-talk is huge. So welcome, Teddy. And most important here is she's going to be speaking at the TEDx in Vegas on January 16th. So welcome, Betty.
Thank you, Bruce. I'm honored to be here. Thanks so much for having me on your show.
Thank you. So just share a little bit more about your background and,
I got into this and everything to do with weight loss because I woke up at 40 and realized that I had been dieting off and on most of my life. I went on my first diet. A doctor gave it to me when I was 16, and my entire life had been about gaining or losing weight. And I just felt like there had to be a better way. Um, I also heard something on a talk show that those of us who struggle with weight have something broken inside, and until it's fixed, we will never actually keep our weight off. So I went searching, what's inside me, what's going on? And this is how the negative self-talk and turning that around into more positive, affirming self-talk developed. I had an idea for a book that laid on the back burner and sometimes the front burner off and on for 20 years. I finally published in 2016, and from that book evolved founding a weight management support group that been meeting for 3 years, doing one-on-one coaching, taking more coaching training, deciding that I want to get my message out wider. And so I started looking for opportunities to get on a TEDx stage. And through a series of networking, that's how I came to be one of the speakers for TEDx Tenea Paseo in January.
That's awesome. It's always a great platform to be part of, so share a little bit about your experience with kind of preparing and working with the TEDx group.
The TEDx group is awesome. They have some very clearly defined guidelines for what you can say and cannot say on a TEDx stage. The people who organize a TEDx event and everyone who puts it together are all volunteer. The money that you pay pays for the sound and production and the technical aspects of this. But once I was there's an application process, and you can go to TEDx.com and find one in your area. And each organizer has a little bit different application process, but you want to follow it carefully. You can email the organizer, get right in touch with them. And once I was accepted, then they assigned me a coach. I mean, it's not like I even had to go out and pay a professional coach to help me with this. So they assign coaches. And so then it's a matter of a combination of developing a written script and then memorizing that in a speaking, delivery, doing the performance practicing, I guess is what you want to say. So usually there's about a 4 month lead time between when you're accepted and when the event is. And so you have plenty of time to prepare, and you get a lot of help in preparing, a lot of support.
Yeah. Yeah. So it's one of those, you got to memorize. There's no like notes or teleprompter type of thing.
No teleprompter. This is a memorized speech, and you do want to, not go widely off script. I mean, if you change up a word here or there,
Yeah.
but I'm in the process of memorizing right now. I'm going to be looking in the next few weeks for places to start practicing delivering, and that's another thing you do. You find groups, you find people that would let you speak at their organization event, things like that, so that you can practice your delivery before you get on stage. But you have to know it. You have to have it down before you step in front of those cameras.
Yeah. I uh, found out that it's a 13-minute talk is what you have, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So that's,
Yeah. And it is. I mean, I didn't have anything, no fear of being on stage to get over. Give me a spotlight and a microphone and I just light up. I mean, I'm just not one that's afraid of speaking. So there's none of that overcoming of that. For me, it's the excitement of it. And I could probably talk for 25 minutes if you let me loose.
yeah.
As a matter of fact, when I launched my book, I gave about a 40, not 1 hour. It was about a 45-minute presentation when I launched my book. And
Yeah.
I didn't have a note. One, I had slides and I knew by the slide which one I was going to say next, that type of thing.
Yeah.
But this is a little different. I do want to be word perfect. I do want to be gesture perfect. I want it
Yeah.
to be extremely professional because this is a big deal. A TEDx stage is a big deal.
Yeah. So the excuse me, the the just the fact of being on stage obviously is helping get get your message out there and that. So share a little bit about what your specific topic is.
My topic, the title of my talk is Let's Lead with Acceptance. And my premise is that we all tend to be fixers. We want to help people. We have this sincere desire to help make other people's lives happier and healthier and better. But when we start off with, oh, you might try this, or this would be good for you, what we're actually saying is, I see you as broken. You're somehow not whole or incomplete. And so my premise is let's lead off with, I'm so happy to see you. I
Yeah.
want to I want to hear about what's going on in your life. Tell me
Yeah.
what lights you up. I want us to engage with each other from our joy rather than from our brokenness. And I just feel like that could have the a major positive impact, and that's the theme of TEDx Tanea Paseo is change to make a massive positive impact. And that's where, for me, that's acceptance. That's me accepting myself as I am. There goes to self-talk. Me accepting you as you are, us accepting our communities as they are. That's my theme.
That's awesome because I just recently did a podcast on self-talk, why self-talk is important, and it's just people, there's so much negative that we're exposed to with the news and everything else. And then of course we've got what I refer to as ants running around in our brain is the automatic negative thoughts. It's the ants. And there's always that self-criticism that kicks in, and we have to be able to, one, talk to ourselves like we're someone we love
Hmm.
and accept ourselves as so that we can then in turn accept others. And it really
And
does start with ourselves. And that's
yeah,
it's
in doing research for this, I found a study published in 2014 that showed that 70% of our spontaneously occurring thoughts are negative.
yeah,
And when you realize that most of the time we're thinking about ourselves, we,
yeah,
nobody else is thinking about us as much as we're thinking about ourselves. And if 70% of those thoughts are negative, we don't stand a chance. So turning that self-talk around, it takes a conscious effort and it takes practice. And you're
yeah,
right that, it starting from within, until we accept ourselves, or as we're learning to accept ourselves, we start to realize how much we're not accepting the people around us. And so it spreads from inward outward, and they're both tied together so well. I mean, it can work the other way too. If somebody gives me a compliment, I need to learn how to say thank you and
Yeah.
not deflect that, not push it off like, oh, no, no, not me. Well, they think I'm good at something. Maybe I should think about that and maybe realize that I'm good at something. That's
Yeah.
it goes back and forth. Yeah.
Yeah, because that's true. Is there's so many people, they like to give compliments and praise and that, but they have a hard time accepting it.
Yeah.
And this is, I know that's one of the things that I talk about sometimes is that, how do you feel when you give someone a compliment or a gift and they're so excited and whatnot, so you feel great?
Yeah.
Well, turn that around. Okay, someone's paying you a compliment or giving you praise, and you say, oh no, that's nothing, whatever. Think about how they feel. It's like you're dismissing this, and it's like, wow, okay. And the it is about being able to not only give but to receive, and we have to allow that, because it's I've got a positive mindset tool that, it's like a digital vision board on steroids, and that we've got, besides the positive images, we have a variety of different affirmation statements, and it's like the I am statement is the most powerful, but the other ones that types that we have in there are you are. It's the third party validation. So that's where the other person is saying, oh, you're so talented, you're really good at that. And that it's like, gee, like you said, maybe I should, consider that. Maybe I am really good.
Yeah, yeah. It definitely, it's contagious when we start recognizing our own value and our own strength. We start recognizing it in others. They recognize it in us. We recognize it in them. It spreads.
Mhm.
And when something's joyful, you want to do it more.
Yeah.
When it feels good, then you want more of that. Yes, please, and some more, please. And so it's so much easier to live this life when we find peace and contentment and happiness and self-love, because we find the love that we can give and receive, and that's just amazing.
Yeah. It was like, say, catch someone doing something right, and give them, compliments, and because that positive, um, you know, influence, and that really helps. And that I had several years ago, I was at well, I was helping organize one of my class reunions, and we were at a restaurant, and where we were going to have the reunion at, and um, the one lady she was the manager there, and she was helping, tremendous help in that, in helping us organize and figure things out and that. So I had these little cards that they had different things on it. It's like, thank you for helping, or thank you for being a friend, or for listening, or whatnot. So I grabbed one of these cards that says, thank you for being so helpful. And I gave it to her, and she just almost broke down in tears and said, thank you. You don't know how much I needed this today. And that, because we don't know what people are going through, and especially nowadays, and that says it's so stressful and that, but just to have that, additional, you know, positive message coming through really helps, make our day and that. So it's wonderful to be able to uplift somebody. And most importantly, we need to uplift ourselves with that positive self-talk and that, because
Yeah.
it's huge. Because I mean, however we're impacting ourselves, then that's broadcasting to other people and that. So
Yeah. We make so many little judgments in a day, and it's just so normal to do it. But we oftentimes judge ourselves most harshly. And once we notice that we're doing that, and we can get to a place of acceptance, of self acceptance, it's easier to see how we judge other people. I'll tell you a little story. I used to live in an urban setting, and one Sunday morning, I was out walking the dog, and this woman was walking toward me, and by the way she was dressed, the high heels and the tight skirt and the smeary makeup, and I kind of had an idea of what her occupation might be, and I was making a judgment about her,
Yeah.
and she was looking down at the dog, and all of a sudden she looked up at me, and the most brilliant smile lit up her face. She looked me in the eye and was just beaming, light shining out of every pore of her being. And I looked at her completely differently. I saw a completely different person. And that brought home to me, wow, wow, the judgments I'm making. And if I'm judging her that harshly, am I judging me that harshly? You know, it's like, can we see beyond the appearances to the person? You know,
Yeah.
and how do we do that? I have a lot of practical little exercises in my weight management support, coaching and stuff, to do these types of things and turn things around. But I'm just really excited to get the message of accepting in self-talk, accepting of each other, accepting of ourselves, out to a wider audience. That's what's really important right now.
Yeah, it really is. And um, the, uh, I mean, yeah, it's just such an important thing to raise awareness of, in that, because um, like one of my friends, this is a self-love and forgiveness coach, and that's one of the things she says. Speak to me like I'm someone you love. Well, it's also the self-talk, because we have this inner child.
Yeah.
And it says, just if we look at each person as this young child type of thing, and just be more caring and, accepting, and that it would make things a whole lot nicer.
It would make our world so much better. It would make our own personal lives happier. And that's what
Yeah.
I'm all about, is joy. I'm all about the joy. Let's have more of it.
Yeah. Yeah. Can't have too much of that. That's for
Okay.
sure. No, so is there, no, um, as far as you're going to be there at the TEDx event live, right?
Right. So as the speakers, we will be
Mhm.
live. We'll be in an auditorium with, on stage with professional videographers and all of that, but the audience will not be there. The
Yeah.
audience is going to be by live streaming. So we can now, instead of being limited to only selling enough tickets that would fill an auditorium, we can sell unlimited tickets. And our
Yeah.
organizer has dropped the price in half because it's not going to be, in the building. So anyone can join from anywhere in the world. The link is right here next to me, www.tedxtenayapaseo.com. That's where you get tickets. And I just, the group of people I'm speaking with are amazing. They are all professional people. They have areas of expertise, all of them positive, uplifting, affirming people. And I'm just really honored and excited to be part of the group that'll be on stage.
Yeah. And I will have the link to the website in the description of the podcast and on the YouTube channel description as well. So definitely, visit the site, register, so you can attend the event. And I think this is probably the first one that I'm aware of that is doing a live stream type of
Um,
thing.
I,
But
I think there's been one other because our organizer waited to set a date until she saw how that one went.
okay.
And
Yeah.
so I think there has been one other do live stream. When we postponed, her one of her major goals for actually setting a new date was that we have the same experience as other TEDx speakers, that it not be by Zoom, that we have professional lighting,
Yeah.
professional sound, professional videographers, that we end up with a video that will go on the TEDx YouTube channel that would be the same quality as anyone else at any other event. She wanted there to be no drop in quality for
Yeah.
us. And that's why she was She actually waited to schedule this one until she saw how the first live stream event went.
Yeah, great. Yeah, yeah, it's a wonderful opportunity that
It
just the
is.
part to watch this, so you don't have to worry about traveling, So and
Yeah.
yeah, it really, the virtual events have opened it up to a much wider audience now, and that, so you're no
Yeah.
longer limited to how many you can fit in that room, and that. So yeah,
Yes.
that's one thing that well, any additional comments you'd like to share or anything before we?
I'll leave you with my tagline, and that is: no matter what changes you're trying to make to your life, it's a game of solitaire, but it should never be played alone. Let's do this together.
I love that. That's great.
Yeah.
So, okay, well, just as a reminder, this podcast, the links to the podcast and the YouTube video are on my will be on my website, actualizeyourfullpotential.com. And in the description will be a link to the TEDx website, so you can register and buy your tickets there. And it's going to be a fun event. And as an additional reminder, just to stay positive, I have a positive mindset tool that's available. That will also be in the description. Is positivemindsettool.com. And just encourage you to check that out. And more resources are on my website as well. So just have a great rest of the week, and thank you, Betty, for joining me, and I look forward to seeing your talk and the rest of the speakers.
Thank you so much for having me, Bruce. I really appreciate being here.
Okay, thanks, and take care, guys, and have a great week. Bye.